Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff here in rural Retreat, Alaska. It is a beautiful Thursday night, 4:38 p.m., June 22nd, 2023, in the year of our Lord. What are you guys up to? One moment. What? So, having a great day, sorting through things here, the Hotel Orloff. Look what I found from December of 1961. It's Movie Teen Illustrated, special Elvis issue. That looks a little disturbing there. It looks like they painted lipstick and a little Marilyn Monroe mole on him. Oh, well. There's a link in the chat if anyone would like to come on. Songs that Elvis really loves. Look at that jukebox. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. Yeah, this is all, the whole issue is all Elvis, pretty much. Well, I mean, they got something about Bobby V in here, too. Let's see what else we got here. A more recent book. Here we've got 16 magazine. See, there's Mick Jagger and Ringo Starr and David McCallum tells you his life story. He was, of course, Ilya Kuryakin on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Here's Teen Screen, the more recent magazine. It's got gear color pinups in it. Look at this. It doesn't have a back cover, but the Beatles are bursting through actual pictures of bugs playing guitars. Boy, that one has a old paper smell that's quite wonderful. It's not quite as good as the smell of a barbecue grilling. But I'll be going to a barbecue restaurant here in a couple hours. Oh, someone was watching and then they went away. They said, they're not showing comic books there. What good was that show? Well, I was listening to Blazing Press on the Rumble network.
Weather, very hot one day and then very cold the next. Some areas up in the 90s. And then all of a
He's
sudden
panicking about possible nuclear war. But it's a very charming little thing to listen to. So, all 0 of you watching, how are you doing? Doing great, huh? Let's see what else I've got in this box. Trying to organize here, sort of. Thought I'd go live, just see what's going on out there in the world. It's kind of lonely up here in Alaska. Well, here's some old magazines. Oh, yeah. You ever heard of the magazine called The Freaky Magnet? It's a magazine that came out in the 90s for fans of Freaky's cereal. You all remember Freaky's cereal, don't you? Wonder when they stopped making Freaky's cereal. This is before the internet, when you had to shop through ads in the back of these specialty magazines. It's from a spring, summer, I would bet 1995. Let me see. It's from, no, I'm incorrect, 1996. This is a magazine that Joe Riley and I were into back in the days when we were making the Hypnotic Eye television show. And Joe Riley passed away years ago, unfortunately. It was all about all the different Freakies premiums you could get. This is no issue number 7. But the next one, oh wait, these are in order. This one, yeah, I saw this original painting. Joe Riley actually did this cover. He painted this cover. So this is, see his signature there? Joe Riley, 1995. I wonder how many were printed of this. And then on the back is a photograph of the Monster Mansion, the cardboard mansion that you could get. Kind of makes a wonderful wraparound cover. Yeah, Joe Riley was, he's serving you his Frankenberry right out of his cranium. Joe Riley was a great artist. Anyway, I'm doing a series now called Tomb of Terror. I have 32 episodes done. That's done in the spirit of the old Hypnotic Eye that I used to work on with Joe Riley, and I'm selling them for $20 a piece, postage paid. If you send to PayPal at Kenneth Weinert, PayPal at KENNETHWEINERT. You could order one, just see what you think of it. Each episode's 2 hours long. So it's like 2 episodes of The Hypnotic Eye. So in a way, it's kind of like I have 64 episodes, if you want to think of it that way. But I would say that it's very much in the vein of The Hypnotic Eye. If you liked episode 2 of The Hypnotic Eye, that's the one that that was completely me, that second episode. So if you liked the episode 2 of The Hypnotic Eye, you'll like this show, and it's very much along those lines. If you order more than, like, say 5 of them, I'll let you can get them for $16 each, because then the postage goes down when I send a bunch of them. But everything's going up. Prices of everything's going up. The postman, I just sent off a whole bunch of episodes of The Hypnotic Eye. What day is it? 2 days ago. Postman said that he had just found out that stamps are going up 3 cents, but I don't remember the last time I bought a stamp. Do you? What else is in here? Yeah, back in the old days, people would, there was no internet, right? So, or it was in its infancy. So, this is the Mr. Ed fan club put out this magazine, The Horse's Mouth. This is actually from this is July of 1984. There was definitely no internet then. This came from Big Bucks Burnett. He owned a record store called 14 Records. 14 was just some magical number to him. I'm not exactly sure. He explained it. I'm sure he explained it to me at least a couple of times at his record store, why he called it 14 Records, because he had more than 14 records in the store. But anyway, he ran the Mr. Ed fan club and the Tiny Tim fan club, and he was Tiny Tim. He had music festivals. One was called Ed Stock, and one was he had a Tiny Palooza with Tiny Tim, where he actually came and performed. And then Tiny Tim, when he came into Denton, Texas, where my friend was living at the time, he wound up falling in love with the best friend of Big Bucks Burnett that ran the fan club. He had this friend that was a girl, and Tiny Tim decided this was his angel, his muse, that, he must marry her, but, she didn't feel the same about him. She liked him, obviously, as a fan, but that became his a big deal for Tiny Tim there in his old age. Got a lot of cool things in here. No, don't do that. Here the dog is here to mess with things again. Who's watching? 3 people watching. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I feel famous. 3 people watching, man. Incredible. Here's G.I. Joe action figure exchange. Again, what people had to do before the internet, before eBay. This is, people put out their own magazines where you could buy stuff. I don't know. Do people care about these magazines now? I do. I preserve everything here in this museum up here in the jungles of Alaska. This may be the only safe place on earth once Joe Biden provokes those Ruskies into, oh man. Yeah, I found some old copies of a fanzine I did in college. Here, amazing. I didn't know those were in there. I'm finding all kinds of stuff. One of these days, I'll find that first Schluggener All-Star Comics 58 with the first Power Girl. It's gonna be, it's gonna show up one of these days. Here's another issue of that Mr. Ed journal. Oh yeah, that's Big Bucks Burnett there. I forgot that he started his own religion called Joyism. He was quite a character. Well, he still is quite a character. This is the Vanna White issue. He is quite a character. He's still there in Dallas. I think he opened his 14 record store up again. Or it might be like a booth in an antique mall now. I don't know. What else do I have in this box? Remember Robert Tilton? This is the little magazine he'd send you. Who is this man? What is his mission? His mission is to take a lot of money from you. Yes, indeed. Miracles of Faith. Remember him? That was very entertaining. I don't know. I got like more than a few issues of his little periodical publication. Oh, this isn't Robert Tilton. Oh, he's got like a concert. Look at that. Reba Rambo. That was no relation to Rambo that went back and rescued all our POWs. This is pretty cool. This is Comics Art and Graphics Gallery. Oh, there's people in the Meyer Greenblatt, he spoke in tongues. Yes, absolutely. Basanda Basoto. Yes, he spoke in tongues. Yes, I had another friend. Okay, I told you about this one friend that ran the Mr. Ed fan club and the Tiny Tim fan club. And then I had this other friend who ran the Robert Tilton fan club. And that was some. In fact, I think I've got some of the. Do I have some of the Robert Tilton fan club newsletters in here? I've got a bunch of fanzines in here. Drew, don't lick everything, man. That's just our first looking her dog, man. What's up, Meyer Greenblatt? What you up to, man? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, but no, don't do that. How dare you? Oh, this is I have some other issues of this, but I don't know where I need to put these. This is actually a Marvel magazine. This was put out by Stan Lee's people. Nostalgia Illustrated. In the 70s, when everyone was getting all nostalgic about the past, because if you grew up in the 30s, in the 1970s, that was only about, 30, 40 years in the past. And so I got to put a lid on this box. This dog, this dog wants to lick everything, man. I already gave you dinner, Drew. What's up with you? It's un-American. It's un-American. You're ruining my television broadcast, man. Okay, so I'm eating lunch, a ham sandwich. Yeah, it's earlier there in California. Right here, it's almost dinner time. Yeah, there was a nostalgia boom in the 70s for the 50s, with American Graffiti and Happy Days. And then for the 30s, with a little bit older generation, was nostalgic for the 30s and 40s. And this is got an article about Art Deco. George Gershwin. See, I was the Flash Gordon books that were coming out at the time. This came out, I would say, what, about 1974, 75? You can definitely see the how that looks like the same art director as the Marvel black and white magazines. Yeah, let's see. When did this come out? As a kid, I was fascinated by the past. Where's my June 1975? Okay, so we were on the move. We were packing boxes when I got this issue, heading from San Antonio to Tacoma, Washington, away from my good friends that I discovered comic books with and wacky packages, and to a horrible school on the base there at what is it, Fort Monroe, up there in Seattle, or probably it's gone. I imagine Jimmy, what the heck is his name? Bill Clinton closed a lot of Army bases. He probably closed that one. No, it isn't. Fort Monroe was the one. It was Hampton, Virginia. It was it Fort Madison? Something like that. Madigan, Fort Madigan? No, it was Madigan Hospital that my dad ran, I think, there for a year. Anyway, this thing shows pictures of original art that they're selling. This isn't an auction thing. They actually have it priced. And like here, you can get the Jack Kirby page from Journey into Mystery, number 121, page 3, for $300. Wow, that seems kind of cheap for this. See that page there? Am I showing? Here's the right one right here. That's $300. Now that was in. Before you get too excited, when was this published? When was this published? A long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. Long ago and far away. Ooh, seriously? This Green Hornet cover, this original art is they've got it priced at $2,000. If you can get in a time machine and go back in time, of course, this is Fort Lewis. Yeah, Fort Lewis. That's where I lived for a year. It was nice there, very pretty. It rained all the time. I couldn't get out and ride my bike. I started to get a little more. I started to get overweight there. It was 5th grade, and I think I only had like one friend. His name was Roland Perry. I can't find him today. And when I left after the 75 to 76 school year, we moved back to Texas, not the same part of Texas, to North Texas, where I've lived pretty much since then. Horrible. Kind of wish that we'd been able to just stay in San Antonio. That would have been great. I would have, of course, I don't know. It probably everywhere is horrible now. That's everywhere that's urban is just turning into nothing but fentanyl zombies and crime and people allowed to shoplift. Let's see. Man, these prices seem pretty good. You can get this front cover for Battle Stories for $225. Death's Grim Harvest, Reds. I'm just hanging out because why not? Oh man, this painting, this cover to Vampirella, is $950. This is another Vampirella painting. It's $725. Well, on the bright side, you got nice, thick, curly hair. Yeah, I probably need to get a haircut. It's starting to get ridiculous, man. Oh, there's a Savage Sword of Conan cover. Earl Norham, $750. Oh, I was just watching John Buscema's granddaughter live on Instagram, Stephanie Buscema. So all the argument can now end. She introduced herself as Steph Buscema, clear as day. It's Buscema. Very easy. Everyone argues about it. It's Buscema. You can look at an Instagram. She's a painter, and she's a goth type, but she paints this cutesy goth stuff. She just did a tarot card deck where she painted all the images on a deck of, she's all happy and pleased about it. And there's a picture of her doing this. I used to do this on my show because I thought it's cool. That's what they used to do. I was doing it because they used to do it on the Prisoner, they were all trapped on the island. They'd say, "Be seeing you," but what they were really doing, it was the producers of the writers of the show knew that was an Illuminati deal, and that's why they get all these movie stars to do this. So I was secretly doing something satanic, and I didn't even mean to do it. I just thought, hey, you guys know the Prisoner, right? Be seeing you, but she, I guess it's a cool thing to do. But Buscema, yeah, she's a beautiful, her artwork is beautiful. She's very much, it's amazing how the art talent just is in a family, with John and his brother and then his granddaughter. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Buscema, that'd be Italian, right? I assume so. Maybe it's Martian. I kind of like some of her stuff. Some of her stuff is cute. Italian. Yes. You guys are making me hungry for Italian food, but I don't have that option. I got one stellar restaurant here locally, and it's open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And then there's a Mexican restaurant that's pretty darn good. And there's a Subway that's a Subway. Oh, and there's another place that's pretty good, but that place we don't go as often because they only take cash, and it's the cat is calling us. It's amazing that the cat is almost like he said Alan. By the way, the cat is named Alan because when Alan first appeared in the backyard back in Texas, as a little kitten, my wife Cleo asked the cat, "What's your name?" And he said, Alan. So anyway, the cat's named Alan. The other cat's named Pete. Pete and Alan have been going to the front porch and getting sun lately. They're just laying there sleeping. Back when I was in high school, the girls used to call it laying out. That might be a Texas thing. I was laying out Saturday, and they get ridiculous tans. This back in the early 80s, late 70s. People didn't know about the possible damaging effects of the sun, and they would lay out in the sun until they turned about as brown as the wood on this television back behind me. They come to school just unbelievably tanned. And they probably look horrific now at age 58, more than likely. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cats. They call it that here as well. They still call it that? I don't know what people call it. You mean back then? What's going on my telephone? Oh, someone liked my latest episode. How do you like my Christmas shirt in June? Missing Mars says, very nice episode, Gratu. Just wanted to say that I'm knee deep into Tomb of Terror #2. Grant's music video and interview, priceless. Can't stress getting these enough. If you're unsure, grab volume 1 to start. I think you'll be back for more. Oh, see, he's putting a free advertisement. See, it's for real, guys. If you don't, yes, order my television show. It'll keep me fat, ladies and gentlemen. No, yes, indeed. Oh, and then I'm on live on the 4-Color Fossils right now. Yeah, because I started putting this show up yesterday, and then it took forever, and then 4-Color Fossils starts, and then this episode goes live, and then the next episode goes live, all during the span of last night's show. And I noticed people are watching. It's like it got to like 10, 20 views and I thought, why? And so I put a comment here. I'm live on the 4-Color, like, go watch me there, and then come back and watch the show. I should have written that part, because I don't, it's like, how is it someone watches my show and not an actual live broadcast? I assume that everyone that watches this show watches that show, because I just thought it's the same audience. I make assumptions, but yes, and I lost a viewer since yesterday. I was at 558. Now I'm at 557. I must have offended someone with something or other. Yes, indeed. Oh, someone's talking to me about the Nephilim. Actually, according to the Bible, the Nephilim were the fallen angels and not half men and half animal. The Nephilim were the Nephilim were giants in the Bible, right? They were born the size of actual normal human babies. The fallen angels would marry or have relations with human women, and then they would just keep growing. Whatever stops our growing, they didn't have, so they grow. That's how. That's why David had to take out Goliath. And there were other giants back then. Who knows? They could have been the ones that built the pyramids, right? They made some weird Noah's Ark movie a few years ago with Russell Crowe, and they show these weird Nephilim giants helping to build Noah's Ark. I could have sworn, didn't that happen? That movie was so insane. These people that aren't really Bible believers make these Bible movies, and they turn out to be insane. Yes, indeed. So I guess no one will come on and talk to me today. I know that I wonder if Gary Von Davis, he's usually off on Thursday. Maybe he's around. I'll send him a text massage. Yeah, buddy. Well, that's cool to get a review live during the show. But anyway, yeah, order Tomb of Terror. I should put on a little Krylon. Is that what they call it at the bottom of the screen? Oh, Meyer Greenblatt's here. Hello, Meyer Greenblatt.
Hey, what's up? Let me get everything set up. Find the tripod. What's going on?
Not much. Yeah, I've been enjoying your videos. Oh, it was
cool. Thank you.
Okay, what does John Gora says? Love the summer, but I'm constantly getting bit by all sorts of things out here. And then you said your Disneyland Tomorrowland picture made me melancholy for 1970. It reminded me of the association. What music did I put on that video? I think I put G.G. Allen on it.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's what kind of also made it funny, is because it was G.G. Allen. But I saw the picture, and for me, like I've told you before, I kind of, in a way, grew up in Disneyland. So we would go 2-3 times a year my whole childhood. So I could tell exactly where they were standing, and I can tell by how they're dressed what year, what time period it is. And where they were standing, they're standing like right in front of this place that used to be called, I don't know what's there now, but it used to be called the Tomorrowland Stage or the Tomorrowland Bandstand. And they would have live like concert performances, and they would film like Walt Disney World or you know, the world is a wonderful world of color or whatever. They would film it there. And one time when I was 5, a day that we went, there was a live concert of the band The Association, right? And they played live there, and it was the first time I ever saw a live concert. And they had a ton of hits at the time, right? And their music was great, and the harmony, it sounded great, and it was like probably 200 or 300 kids, like little kids and teenagers and families, and it was packed, and everybody was having a blast. It was a great show.
They did Precious and Few, right?
Just that one photograph, that one Instagram post reminded me of the whole day.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, G.G. Allen, I always ignored. I thought this guy's too extreme for me. I heard about all his shenanigans on stage, but then when I actually heard his music, it's so offensive and wonderful that I don't know.
That's part of what was funny, is that G.G. Allen's probably the opposite of like Windy by The Association or Never My Love by The Association, which is
they do Precious and Few also. Yeah,
Precious and Few. No, I think Precious and Few is Bread, or I'm not sure. So The Association is Windy. Along Comes Mary, Never My Love.
Hey Siri, who recorded Precious and Few?
Who is that? Who's that?
Climax, sing the song Precious.
Climax. Huh. So, but it does sound like The Association. So it sounds just like them. They were great. Really good band.
Yeah.
And a really good time. It was a beautiful, beautiful place at that time.
So
what's going on? Yeah.
So so as far as the Charles Biro comics, it was Bob Wood, the one that became a murderer, not Charles Biro.
No, not Charles.
I could have sworn on the Four Color Fossils a month or so ago, someone was saying Charles Biro turned out to be a killer or something, but
no, that was Bob Wood.
Okay. But he really didn't have that. He was just a guy that kind of hung around and got his name. Probably an investor, maybe. Maybe he was
an artist. He was an artist and a co-creator for Crime Does Not Pay. And
he was one of the artists also.
Yeah, he was. But I also think that he was a close friend with Charles Biro. So I think that he was probably the first guy that they brought on. So Gleason and Biro started it out with Daredevil #1, which was the one where Daredevil is punching Hitler. I think it's called Daredevil Battles Hitler. And it came out 2 months after Captain America #1. And, I think they were jumping on a craze there. They're trying to, like they said, trying to strike the iron while it was hot. Like, okay, let's have our hero punch Hitler on the cover. So that was popular, and they made a bunch of money. So then I think that's where Gleason got the idea to keep making comics. So he had Biro with him. They brought this guy, Ed Wood, on, who I think was not Ed Wood, Bob Wood, who was an old friend of Biro's. And those guys stayed together through that success of Crime Does Not Pay. But what I read was that at the height of their popularity, like when they're making a bunch of money, and it was before the code hit. So like it's probably 54 or 55? When did the code really take effect?
55.
Okay, so it's probably right around exactly the moment, or maybe it was right after the code took effect. Maybe the code taking effect had something to do with the amount of money that they were making, or I don't know what. But Bob Wood, not Biro. So Biro, like I've said in my video, he's really the guy that created everything. Everything that you read in any of these Gleason books is either written by him or drawn or designed. If it's not drawn by him, it's designed under his supervision. He wants it to be.
Bob Wood, okay.
Bob Wood is doing nothing. He's not even that good.
No, he didn't do it. It was Charles Biro that.
All Charles Biro.
Okay, well that makes me feel better because it's like people want to ruin the fun. It's like, oh yeah, the guy that made that book went on and killed someone, and it's
So
like,
not
well,
at all. So that's not the case at all. Even if you like look up, like if you decided to try and look up and find all of Bob Wood's contributions to Lev Gleason comics, it's probably not very long of a list. His work is not that great. This is all Biro stuff. This is all the stuff that was written by Biro, and Biro was he loved to write, but he was a typical 1950s guy. He was kind of a drinker and a partier. They lived high. Both of these guys were single through all of this, and Bob Wood, maybe something was going on with his professional life with the company, and then also personal life. He's just drinking a ton of alcohol and spending a bunch of money. Both of these guys were living in penthouse apartments. Really,
what were they doing did they fight during World War II?
I don't know. I'm not sure. They probably did. They probably both did fight. Probably all of these. Well, Lev Gleason probably not. He's an older guy.
that could have been it there. Just
well, in the paper it says he went on an 11-day drinking binge.
Oh,
so
boy.
That he was in like a multiple day alcohol blackout, according to the story in the paper. And then he murdered this woman, and then he was dealt a light sentence because he pled alcoholism and mental instability, and he served 9 years. I think he did like 9 years on Rikers Island. But while he was there, obviously his problems didn't end when he got to prison. So once he was in prison, there was problems that happened in prison. He ended up owing people money that when he was in prison, probably from gambling or something. So when he got out of prison, this is all stuff I read. He's working in a diner on the New Jersey Turnpike. And he's completely not even in the city anymore. And now he's like working as a fry cook and trying to hope that nobody knows who he is. Well, he's out of prison for only a short time, like a year, and then his body is found murdered and dumped on the side of the turnpike. Yeah, that's the end of the horrible story of Bob Wood. So, and it's surmised that he was offed by those guys from prison that he owed money to, some loan sharks or something, gangster. And that's but he really wasn't the main creator. So you can't those things that those people are saying are not true. Biro was a good guy. I mean, Biro, you could like those comics I was showing. He was all about trying to, like I said, he was trying to counterbalance what was happening or what he felt was happening with the code and with delinquency and with the lurid covers and the violence. So he's trying to tone it down and continue to make money and trying to be a positive influence and do something different. Probably he's trying to be more like Dell, but he, you know what I mean, in his own way, trying to. Yeah.
Well, those they wrote the code to directly go after EC, and those books where you can't have crime in your title, and that was their biggest title.
So it's very likely that had something to do with Wood, going off the deep end.
Let's see, John Goris. I heard Spencer Tracy was a blackout drunk. He'd just go on like 2-week benders where he's totally unaccountable for. Just wake up in his underwear in a ditch somewhere and hitch back. Wow. Yeah. The last survivor, Pearl Harbor, passed away yesterday or today, or must have been yesterday.
Oh, really?
I was behind a car a few years ago that said Pearl Harbor. He had a bumper sticker that said he was a Pearl Harbor survivor. I guess there aren't, many around, or aren't anymore now.
So what was going on with that thing about Captain America punching Hitler on the cover of Captain America #1, which is the cover date is May of 1941. Michael Taylor brought it up in a comment to me.
Yeah, we weren't at work yet.
So that was like months. Like, what is that? 6 or 8 months before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Or 6 months before Pearl Harbor, or whatever it is. So were the creators conservative? What was going on? Like, I mean, why were they? Was the American public anxious to get into a war with Hitler and Germany? Is that what that was about? Because the war didn't start until after the Japanese attack.
I think a lot of people were isolation. I mean, people knew that Hitler was a bad guy. I think that was the main thing. But they had Roosevelt let Pearl Harbor happen in order to get the American public in line with going to war, because he knew it was going to happen. He let that happen to all those guys. I mean, they could have been warned, and they could have just gotten them all off the ships and blown up the ships and let the guys. But they had to get, it's just how these people think that. People don't matter. They were just little chess pieces in history. But and now it'd be funny if he had I survived Pearl Harbor and all I got was this lousy country.
Oh, that's classic. Damn, John, you're sharp. Funny.
Today. I know, I get it. Yeah, well, yeah. It's things are really not good right now. We've got Chinese troops going into into Cuba. The ambassador or whatever from this country went over there and they kind of laughed at him and kind of kicked him out. And they're in with Russia, and it's coming out more and more about what's been going on in Ukraine, and it's like everything hinges around Ukraine.
Yeah,
and
it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, then yeah. Well, this is far worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I don't hear hardly anything about it except on the Looney Tune channels I listen to on Rumble or wherever. I mean, and Alex Jones. Everyone just seems to be everything's fine, But oh well, we'll see what happens.
There has been like some kind of good news recently, right? Like the stuff that's happened, like in the populist movement, like the things with the and and Bud Light and the Dodgers.
Oh yeah, well people are waking up to how insane things are. Yeah, there's good things. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because they're pushing everything too far. That woman I was talking to you about that dissects the socialist people. My wife instantly didn't trust her. She just looked at her and didn't trust her. And now I was watching her and she just got insanely angry that people were talking about the Bible in the chat. And she started going off with the F word, this and that. She said that we're never going to win. You're never going to beat these socialists if you start bringing up the Bible, because they reject that, and you're just going to you're going to lose them. That's why you're always going to lose. And it's almost like she's there as she's given us breadcrumbs and translating it and making fun of them. But then, what if Satan is really behind all the Marxism, she doesn't want you to. She says, whatever you do, she said, I'm not even going to talk anymore until you guys stop talking about that in the chat. And she just was quiet. And it's like she the one thing that might really work, she doesn't want you to do that. So I'm just wondering if it's all a trick. But I'll still watch her just because it's entertaining to listen to these crazy people and hear someone that used to be one of them dissect it and explain it. But I'm not fully trusting of her.
What was her name again?
It was some like Carlin Boris. Let me look it up.
I feel like I saw
Borisenko. She's got like a Russian. She must have married a Russian guy or something.
Is it Carolyn?
It might be Carolyn, but I don't think it's spelled that way.
But I think I just saw her yesterday or the day before in a video, in someone else's video about.
Well, they hate her, which makes her seem appealing.
Who left hates her?
It's Carlin, or it might be it's Karl. It's this person here. Borisenko.
Yeah, I just saw her. I saw her like 2 days ago in a video about her saying that she preferred the right to the left because we were less violent and more civil and open-minded.
Yeah, but she doesn't like the right either. She doesn't trust either side, but she's more on our side than the other.
Yeah, that's what I didn't even finish the video, but I recognized her name from what you had said, so that's why I pieced it together.
Oh well, it's just I mean, she looks like a nut, but oh well. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I was talking to Gotham City Comics earlier, and he was sent a bunch of stuff he didn't order. And he was, really? I don't know exactly what you do when that happens. They let you keep it
by Diamond.
Yeah.
Huh. Is that what they let you keep it if they send it to you by accident?
I doubt it. But if they don't want to deal with it, it says Marvel just sent an overload of next week's comics. I have to sort, and Diamond is sending me stuff I never even ordered. And I said, do they make you send this stuff back? He says, I don't know. I've never had that happen. It's a book I haven't ordered since 2013. It's a horrible book called Crossed. Says I ordered them last Wednesday, but I know I didn't. And he's got people canceling subscriptions right and left. He's talking about the economy being really bad. Because I got a big shipment from him this morning, and I said, everything got here. It's like amazing because he left. Well, Monday was a holiday, right? So they didn't pick it up till Tuesday, and it gets here Thursday morning. I mean, he generated a label on Monday, but they couldn't have picked it up because Monday was Juneteenth. And that's incredible. And they were saying it was supposed to show up Monday, but it got here today. And I was talking to him because I thought there was some color Conan the Barbarian comics, because I remember going through my Conans, and he would call out numbers, and I'd say, I don't have that one. I have that one. And I said, are those still in my stack? And he said he'd check. And he says, I got all this other stuff going on. It's like, I'm sure they're in a pile there. But anyway. Yeah, so how far away is that comic store that was on Four Color Fossils last night from you?
I don't know. Where are they from? I didn't hear where they were from.
It was like, what was it called? It was like something Sheen's Comics. No, it was something that rhymed.
Spiros
Heroes. That's what it is.
Spiros Comics.
I had looked them. No, the store is called Spiros Heroes. I looked them up, and I mean, they're in California, but I don't know the prices that things are now, and I just thought, wow, those romance books, $30. Oh shoot, I know I couldn't do that. I didn't know they were that high now, but maybe they are. But I don't think. I think everybody that would want those books was on the show last night. I just don't think there are that many people in the United States looking for romance books. But maybe I'm completely wrong.
But I don't know. I don't know either. Yeah, and maybe those were like mid to high grade books. You know, maybe they were fine condition.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I don't know for sure. But I know that the romances are not cheap, that they're not an inexpensive thing, because just like we've talked about and you've mentioned many times before, girls didn't take care of their comics the same way that boys took care of their comics, and girls' comics were thrown away, like into the trash in many instances. So they didn't really keep stuff the way we did.
Except the girls that did save them kept them nice.
But it's just not, there's not that many of them out there. Like you could just go on mycomicsshop.com and you can see that there's multiple issues missing from every one of these runs that are huge, giant runs. So like the stuff that Eric shows, a lot of that's pretty rare stuff. I mean, probably most of it is.
Yeah.
And
I think they're in Los Angeles. That's why they're expensive.
Oh yeah, and it's a niche thing at this point. And I think he said their shop is just back issues. So
I think so.
They have a very specific clientele, and but I don't know. I haven't shopped brick and mortar in years. It's been like probably 5 or 6 or 7 years since I've even been inside of a comic shop. I do everything over the internet.
Let's see what John's saying here. Ever hear of Mr. Arkadin? It's got Orson Welles. Going to try to watch it tonight. It's supposedly an infamous, awful movie.
I never heard of it.
No, I don't know. I've never heard of that title. Yeah, it's weird what happened to Orson Welles. He was this young genius, and then they started cutting his movies up, and it just seemed after Citizen Kane, and they said it would have been a masterpiece, but the studio decided to chop it up, and then it's just like he had this brilliance, and then it just like what happened? And then he just seemed to float through the decades, being a guy that does commercials and appear in movies here and there, but
do you think maybe he pissed off the wrong people?
Oh yeah, he pissed off. He basically pissed off the most powerful man in
Randolph Hearst. Yeah, that's I think.
Yeah, because he ran all the newspapers, and that's where you advertise your movies, and especially with it's like, hey, I know what rosebud means, and of course it's a sled in the movie, but in reality, William Hearst knew what it really meant, and that the movie is about him. And he was, but his, even, and I don't know if the War of the Worlds was just him doing a prank, or if that was at the request of the government to test out, how would that work? How would people react to that?
Where was he broadcasting from when that went out? Was he in New York City or in LA? Chicago? I don't know.
Probably New York. Let me. That's a good question. I think it was New York. But the most of the events in the initial part of not movie, but the radio episode was supposed to be Grover's Mill, New Jersey, which is a real place, and they just had picked it out by putting a thumbtack on a map. But the Mercury Theater was the series, and they they did a different adaptation of a different famous classic every week. Dracula one week, and they decided to do it in the form of a radio broadcast and update it.
And there was a disclaimer before the broadcast saying that, not to be alarmed, this is a work of fiction. But a lot of people missed
it said this is an adaptation of H.G. Wells, and then they said on such a night there were approximately however many million people listening to their radios, and then they kind of had that fade up. Okay, you're listening to a radio broadcast, but people didn't hear the beginning. You know that story, right?
Right.
Because I don't know if you know the story.
Yeah. My mother was born in 1922, so she told me the story that she heard it on the radio when she was like 10 or 11, and that they were fooled, that she thought that it had happened.
Yeah, my dad knew about it the next day, but he wasn't listening to it. And he was up in that part of the woods where everyone was panicking. But the reason, what I meant was, the reason most people missed the first couple of minutes of the broadcast and just thought they were listening to music, because they started with a band playing. Mm-hmm. And then the announcer came on, and we're broadcasting from the blah, blah, blah ballroom. And then here's another song. And it was songs that were popular songs at the time. And then they kept cutting in with news bulletins. As no one listened. Mercury Theater was this low-rated show on against Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. That was the popular show that everyone listened to. But that night, everyone was tuned into that show, and then there's their first. It was like had different guests appear. It was like a musical variety comedy show. They had some opera singer come on, like right at the beginning, and everyone turned their dial, and they were, "I'll come back when the opera singer is off," and so they tune in, and they miss that it's an adaptation of War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and they just think, "Oh, this is much better music than that horrible opera singer," and
wow.
And then when they keep interrupting, saying there's a weird eruptions on the surface of the planet Mars, they kept. That's what happened. It was almost like it was all planned, and it could have been,
I didn't know. I didn't remember that part of the story. If she told me that part of the story, she told me that they listened to it on the big radio out at the ranch, and she said that they ran outside and looked up in the air and looked all around the ranch and looked around to see if anything was going on, and ran back inside and listened to more of it. Yeah.
Well, people saw the water towers in their little small town. They started shooting at them, thinking it must be one of those walking Martian machines. Someone did another one in 1971 in Buffalo, New York. They tried to do it again, and with modern radio sounds, so you can hear it.
My name is Jeff Kay, Program Director of WKBW Radio.
Yeah,
in London, it caused extensive damage, but
so it was
no one was injured.
Updated in 1971.
British
you can
news agency in London.
Hear it on YouTube.
Of the IRA. In this country, in New York City, radical groups held a people's trial today to investigate the deaths.
So anyway, who knows?
Didn't Spider-Man have a radio show for a while in the 70s? I'm trying to I feel like there was
Fantastic Four had a radio show in 1975, late 1975. Mm-hmm. They talked about it in the bullpen page, and they listed the stations that were broadcasting it, and at that point we were living in Tacoma, Washington, and I saw there was one coming from Seattle, and I didn't know when to listen to it, and it was only like a 15-minute show, and I guess I could have called the radio station. I didn't know. I was in 5th grade. I think I remember tuning in, trying to hear something about it, but it was actually pretty well done adaptations of the early comics. And I think the guy that did Mr. Fantastic, if he wasn't the same actor from the Hanna-Barbera series, he sounded just like him. And Bill Murray was the Human Torch. And thing sounded a little bit weird and electronic, but I thought it was very well done. It was like an old radio show. Spider-Man had a record album, not the Power Records ones, but another one was, it was like a rock opera, or it was acted out, and
the one that was highly advertised in the comics with the Peter Parker's mirror, right? Where Peter's standing.
No, it had a. These are all be on YouTube as well. There was one highly advertised that was called Reflections, and it's Peter Parker looking in a mirror, and that's all like rock music about Spider-Man. But there was another one that has a John Romita cover that that other one might have been John Romita too, that was acted out, and then it would occasionally go to these 70s rock numbers. Let's see if I can locate them. Of course, there's the Power Records that were horribly acted, and that's some of the worst art on that.
Found this. So have you ever heard of this record album? It's called Superhero by Rick Springfield.
Oh yeah. He had it was originally called Comic Book Heroes. They used to advertise it in Famous Monsters. And that was right around the time Batman was on the air. There's this one that has a reprint of the Amazing Spider-Man #1 inside of it, but it's very bad. The acting is horrible in that. Man, am I going to be able to find it?
Yeah, I had that Rick Springfield record when I was about 9 or 10, maybe.
Yeah,
it was in my daily rotation, and it had a great album cover, and it had a few songs that were about superheroes in it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on YouTube, but maybe I should just Google it. I know if I looked long enough, I could find it. What is this? Someone named Peter Griffin from 1979. Spider-Man, Peter Griffin.
Really?
I don't want to get a copyright claim for some crap like that, but I'll listen to it later. Is it Peter Griffin, the son on Family Guy?
Yeah, that's the father on Family Guy.
Oh, that's the father? Okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if that's where he got the name from.
Yeah, the picture looked like the guy that played Billy Batson in the Shazam television show from 1975.
I could probably just go like right 12 feet from here. No, Drew. Oh, no. Drew. Hey, Drew.
You know what else was cool?
1 second. Don't do that, Drew. What's that now?
Hey, when you posted that picture the other day on Instagram, did you know that was the Cliff House? Did you know that was my neighborhood?
No, I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was a spectacular photo. What is that house is still there?
No, it burned down, but it's a famous place. It's still called the same thing. They just turned it into a restaurant a couple different times, but it used to be a giant restaurant and hotel, very beautiful and elaborate. It looked like a castle, but it burned down turn of the century. Then it burned down, I think, in the 20s, and then they never built it back up to its original magnificent beauty. It's just a square Art Deco building now.
Okay, so when do you think that picture is probably from about 1900 or something?
Yeah, I would guess like 1909 or something like that, or I'm not really sure. It looks like, by the way she's dressed, I've seen a lot of pictures taken in my neighborhood right around that exact time. There's even some cool footage on YouTube that's taken right there on the beach, and that's the spot where she's sitting, and that building, the Cliff House, are in just about all of my beach videos because it's just a mile and a half up the beach from where I live.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
The
This
north
is
end
the
of the beach.
record that has the acting that's pretty good with the
Oh, okay.
rock music. It's called From Beyond the Grave.
Sounds cool.
And and it had a full color poster inside. Mine didn't have a full color poster. I wonder if it was that image there that was the poster.
It looks really familiar to me. I feel like if I didn't have that, my cousin had that. It sounds familiar.
Someone has one for $161 on eBay, and someone has it for $33 on eBay. There was also a jazz record with a really great cover by a guy named Freddie McCoy, and it's just jazz music. But it has this image.
I love that image.
Freddie McCoy, Spider-Man. That would look really good on a wall. That's someone selling it on Etsy for $150. But the Rick Springfield record had the one that they used to sell in the back. That was before he was known as being anybody. In the 60s, I think it was called Comic Book Heroes.
Yeah, the one that I have is called it's called Comic Book Heroes, and there's even a song on the record, I believe, it's called Comic Book Heroes.
But I think it's had different covers over the album covers over the years. Like this cover, I think, is from the 70s.
That's the exact one that I had right there. That's the exact.
There was one earlier that they used to sell in Famous Monsters, or were in magazines. And I swear that was the same record. But it didn't have an image of him. It just, I wonder if I could find that. I guess it's from about 1966 or 67 when it was originally recorded.
I did not know that. I thought it was like brand new when I listened.
Yeah,
to it. It was 1974. And at that time, when I bought the album, Rick Springfield was already known. He had been like on television.
Yeah, he had a show in Canada. Maybe that record that I thought was the Rick Springfield one wasn't. Heroes record. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. Maybe it isn't him. It was by the Cape. No, it wasn't him. Okay. All right. The one that was, maybe that was early 70s when he was doing that Canadian show. This is the one I used to see advertised, Comic Book Heroes, and it's by the Capes and Masks. Let me see if I can blow that up better.
I've never seen that. I don't remember seeing that.
I've never seen it in person. I've only seen it in
the ads,
black and white ads and Famous Monsters. And I bet it's on YouTube. Yeah, I always assumed this was the Rick Springfield record. And it's got all these images where it's saying, "Prepare to die." In fact, yeah, this would make great thumbnails for videos on YouTube. I'm going to save this picture. Add to photos. Oh, you can play it here. Let's see. Oh, well. Let me find it on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, I was mistaken. You're probably right. That is the original cover of the Rick Springfield one.
Probably terrible.
Yeah, there were so many different.
Pretty cheesy. It was pretty bad. wasn't really very good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all over.
I had a real soft rock taste when I was a little kid. Like
Yeah.
the earliest albums that I bought of my own choice were Jim Croce. Like the first album that I bought, like that I picked out was You Don't Mess Around with Jim by Jim Croce with Time in a Bottle in it. And it was mainly because I saw some TV movie that had that song Time in a Bottle in like the montage scene of the movie. And I think it was a movie that had Sean Cassidy and Linda Pearl playing retarded adults that fall in love and get married. It's called Like Normal People. I was really into all this because I had a cousin that was special, and I had a neighbor that was special. So anytime anything came on TV about mentally retarded people, I paid attention. So I liked that song, so I bought that album. But I'm only like 8 or 9 years old. And then I liked Stephen Bishop, On and On. Remember that song?
Yeah. And I was all into Jim Croce because my older brother had an 8-track of Photographs and Memories, and I really liked that. But now I realize that was just the girl he was dating at the time's taste in music, because my brother's taste in music was never good again. Somehow magically later on, when he got married to some other girl, all of a sudden he's listening to Dan Fogelberg and whatever that girl's. But somehow, at that time, that girl had wanted to hear the Beach Boys, Endless Summer, and that Jim Croce. So I was exposed to some good music through someone who, I think her name was TJ. I don't know. I don't think girls go by initials anymore, like they used to. It's kind of like, it sounds like generic music would play in the background. It's not bad. I better be careful. We got a copyright claim.
L'amour.
Et l'après-midi?
Oui, et toute la nuit.
Formidable.
This is some kind of James Bond thing here.
Yeah, everybody kind of wanted to do that, like what the Monkees did with Head, or like what the Beatles did with Revolver, right? With adding like these ambient or exterior inorganic sound into their music, right?
Yeah, this guy here, Boy John, has over 3,000 videos. I forgot about him. I haven't thought of this in a few years. He puts up children's records, vintage children's records. There's Walt Disney's Song of Adventureland. It's just all this wonderful.
I love that.
Kids records from the 50s and 60s.
I want to get him. What's his name?
It's Boy John. Just think of the Waltons, think of John Boy, but reverse it. Boy John. He's got these Tail Spinners records. Those were very well acted, of like Alibaba, and yeah, it's just a great repository of.
Yeah, this is cool because I don't have any of my old children's records. They were all left behind at my mom's house.
Oh, he's got golden records. Those were great. And he's got a whole playlist of Christmas. And oh, yeah, this will be enough. This will definitely give you all of that. Golden Records theme from Maverick.
Yeah, this is all the
Johnny Tremaine, Pecos Bill.
They used to have that. It was the what was it called? The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Disney. Yeah, I had that one. It was a Disney, a large record. It wasn't one of the small ones. It was like a large one. 33 for the full size LP.
See, I love Lassie, Bugs Bunny. These Warner Brothers ones, Mel Blanc did the voices. So you got Porky Pig, you got Roy Rogers.
That's great.
Yeah,
stuff.
I should point this out on Four Color Fossils, Donald Duck. You know, I don't know how many people actually watch these live broadcasts very long. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I've recorded a lot of this stuff with my DVD recorder. I'll put it in the 6-hour speed, like you would an old VHS tape in 6-hour speed. And so if the 6-hour speed on VHS, the picture would be degraded. The sound was perfectly good hi-fi sound. If you had those hi-fi VCRs, and we used to make, instead of just a 90-minute long cassette mixtape, you could make a 6-hour mixtape on a VHS cassette of music from your turntable. That's how we used to do it. And so, but now I can do that with these DVD-Rs, and I'll record a lot of music straight off of YouTube. And if you pay a couple extra bucks, you can get it without the commercials, so you won't have the commercials popping up. And my wife did that a couple weeks ago, mainly for John Goris, so I could, because if you do that, you can also download. And I needed to download one of his Ghost Tank videos, which I've got to figure out how to do. But I have the ability to do that now. He sent me a what do you call the thing you plug into the computer to save stuff? Stick power.
Memory stick, memory drive, pocket drive,
flash drive. I think that's
drive.
what you call it.
Yeah. All those things. I think those are all the different names for the same thing.
Yeah, I was about to call it a dongle. I don't know what things are.
Yeah.
Easy Comic Reader says, "Hey everyone." Oh, buddy. I was looking at were you on when I was looking at this? Were you? This is a book of
oh yes.
I'll make myself bigger for a second. This is the Comics Art Gallery in
what's the year?
Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah, that's the it's not any time recent. I can't figure out.
For
winter 1990.
Oh man, wow! Imagine. I was still in the army back then.
90.
Even into this stuff anymore at this point, really.
Well, that's 30. That's 33 years ago, right? I don't think of that. I think of this as being brand new. But you could have gotten this little Abner original art for $1,000. No, that's $450. No, it's only $450.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's $1,000 for this Pogo daily strip. What would that be worth now, man? It's
maybe less.
You think?
Maybe less. I'm not sure, because what's the desirability of it? Who wants it? Who's after it?
Well,
I don't know. I'm not
this
sure.
Gil Kane page from the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
What do you think it's selling for back then?
What
Green Lantern number 12, page 6. Guess.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess $350.
150.
What? So
here's
that's
Fantastic Four, number 7, page 19.
What?
And it's going for 500. See, this isn't an auction. This is it's just got the prices here. This is the price you pay.
So some of those probably have increased in value in a ridiculous sense, and then some of them
here's
the same.
Barry Smith Conan pages.
Oh my gosh.
$450 and $375.
Prices. So you don't even have to go through an auction. You could just write a check. You call them and you say, "I'm mailing you guys a check. Can you make sure you hold those pieces? I'm buying them." And they would say, "Yeah, sure," over the phone. And then you would just mail them a check, right? Or give them your credit card number.
I guess so. Yeah, they show how you can pay. Yeah, they take Visa, MasterCard, American Express.
Wow. What a world that would have been.
Yeah, this Bill Ward, this cover probably from a men's magazine. Let's see, what is that exactly? That's It's a paperback book cover. It's unknown who the artist is. It's $400. Oh, this is a Sid Shores men's magazine illustration, 17 by 26, $250. Look at that.
Wow.
That's black. That would be black and white. But it just, there's some pulp illustrations. This is $80 for that pulp illustration.
Wow.
Just stuff that would be amazing. Just here's CC Beck from page from Captain Marvel #4.
It makes you wonder where it all is now. Like who bought all of this stuff and where it all ended up. Who has it all?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still around. This stuff has been saved, but it's just worth a lot more now. What I liked about this, I don't know how I got on this mailing list. I guess I can show my address. I don't live there anymore. I just completely lost track of what I was talking about. Yeah, I don't know. What was I talking about?
You said something about how you don't know how you got on their mailing list.
Oh yeah. True. Oh, what I guess I really like that you get the black and white art because this is reprinted from the original art, so you can blow this up and make copies, and then you have something you can use, like for a party flyer or something like this Green Hornet cover. That's the closest I'd ever get to owning this original art, although that girl's ray gun is overlapping it. But you could use that art for something, and because if you bought the original comic book, it would be color, but here you actually have something you can work with. And
and you have images of all that stuff that they were selling, and the image was nice and clear and sharp. You could blow it up and
that says
digitally color it if you wanted.
Oh, and that's $2,000 for that Green Hornet cover.
Okay.
Man, I'll tell you. So, so what? Oh, so what have you been up to? What do you got? Any new videos planned?
Yeah, I've got stuff planned. I just haven't executed it yet, but I've got things lined up and progressions to make, setting up the dominoes.
I mean, so you're still packing?
No, I'm at a standstill right now. I mean, I'm cleaning and organizing, but I'm not actively putting in stuff away anymore at this point. Now I'm moving stuff around and throwing things away and cleaning is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I was looking for these. I found these little letters that go on I have this little pretend movie theater marquee, but I couldn't find the letters, and those materialized the other day. I'm still gradually sorting.
Well, that's cool. So you can put whatever movie you want up on the bill.
I have a double feature of Blood Feast and Batman, but the T had fallen off of Batman. I'm thinking, where are my letters? So I found them, and I was able to replace the T. I don't know.
Right.
I guess I should make it a more outrageous double feature, like Blood Feast and Lassie or something. I was trying to come up with something where it's like something really horrible with something very innocent. But
I used to have a friend that lived in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, and he lived near this place called the O'Farrell Theater. It's a very notorious XXX rated movie house here in San Francisco, and you could see the billboard or the front of the O'Farrell Theater from his balcony. So anytime I'd go over there and visit Paul, I'd step out in the balcony to smoke a cigarette, and I would look across the street at the O'Farrell Theater, and for a long time, one of the best movies that I saw that was playing there was called Dildo Wars 2. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, this is great, Paul. I mean, you got to wake up every morning to Dildo Wars 2 playing across the street. And he goes, why is this funny? You know, he didn't think it was that funny because he didn't get my sense of humor. He didn't realize that it was probably some sort of Star Wars reference, some sort of XXX Star Wars movie or something.
Well, it's his neighborhood, and it's probably not as funny as when you're just visiting.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel weird when I'm up here. Like last night, I was starting just like my vision was like and I'm starting to realize it's because of the ceiling fan. Look at the strobe effect. It was like hypnotizing me for a couple hours last night during 4-Color Fossils. I'm realizing that's what's doing it. I need to shut off the fan because it's driving me crazy.
You're going to put yourself into one of those Pokemon fits, like those little Japanese.
Yeah, really. I got to run because I got to go pick up Cleo at 6:10 and it's 6:03, but it's just 2 minutes away. Then we're going to eat at a barbecue restaurant. Because that's the part of why I can't remember. I was like, what was I saying? Because it's like lack of, it's like I'm in shock because I haven't eaten. It's like my brain's not working. But I'll see you real soon. Take care. See you, everybody. End broadcast. End broadcast. See you guys. I'll put up another show. I was promising I'd show Fantastic Fours and Vampirellas. I'll probably do that tomorrow. And I'll sort things through. And maybe I'll go live. I'm paying money for this high grade, what do you call it? StreamYard. So maybe you guys can come on and visit sometime and we'll do a live broadcast sometime. But anyway, take care, everybody. Take care. Goodbye.